Well, now I can finally say I have a cougar of my own. A little bit on the heavy side, and a little bit older, but that's not a problem. By that, I mean a Steiger cougar, an ST270. This one's been laying in the corner of this field here for around 11 years. I was told the motor was locked up, saw some opportunity and took it. So, I gotta find a motor for it. Planning on putting a 3406 cat in place of the 3306, and if I can, I'm going to keep the Jake boxes on it. The brakes were known to be really bad on these tractors, so the Jakes are going to help out amazingly. Leave the air compressor on it as well, maybe even mount an air tank somewhere in it, so that way I have air pressure and can air up tires and blow out radiators and whatever else. It's in good condition. All the tires are still holding air after sitting that long. All the oils in the transfer case and transmission and hydraulic reservoir are all clean. Motor's oil is clean as well, but so I was told that it was on a rebuild and it actually blasted one of the seals out of the end of the crank, and in doing that drained all the oil out and was run dry and locked up. Other than that though, it does need a hydraulic pump. I was told the hydraulic pump failed as well. Not a big deal. You can find them everywhere at salvage yards and stuff like that. Not any serious rust on it. It's kind of hard to find rust on something that has metal that's that thick the whole way around. Lots and lots of room to work, I can tell you that much. You've got a blown hydraulic line, I can almost stand in there to get to it. There's the transfer case and transmissions in there. Plans with this motor though, if the injection pump and everything like that checks out, I might consider parting it out. It's got a brand new AC system on it. It's been updated. It's no longer R12, thank God. I was told it has a brand new clutch in it. It's got some transmission work that was done to it. It's a 5-speed shifter and a floor, and then there's 2 range shifters. You got your transfer case and you have your range shifter for the transmission. So it makes it a 20-speed tractor. Plenty of gears to choose from, especially for tillage and stuff like that. Most ideal. Pretty excited about this. It'll be my first big project. First tractor I've ever bought. Plans to get this thing home. We made a push-pull bar back at the farm. It's only got to go about 3 miles or so, or 2 miles down this driveway and up the road. It ain't too far to get home. We're going to try and hitch pin it to this tractor and pin it to our other Steiger and pull it home that way. I'm hoping that the steering cylinders don't get in the way, and if they do, I'm going to take the lines off of it because I can't run it and let the cylinders free float, and it'll just kind of follow, the front end will kind of follow the rear end as it comes home. Statistics on this thing, oh boy, like 200 some gallon of fuel. A lot of fuel. Hydraulic reservoir is actually in the nose of these tractors. Dipstick right there, and the reservoir's right there. This whole section is your hydraulic reservoir. Filter there on the other side for it too. I believe they weigh around 25,000 pounds without fuel and stuff like that. No weights. And the other Steiger we have is around 30. So it shouldn't be a big deal to take this home. I just have to, cross my fingers and hope to God my welds hold up on the push-pull bar to take this home. Because otherwise, that is the life or death of this project. If that lets go, it's going all the way down the hill. There's no brakes, no way of getting it in gear. I really don't want somebody in here pulling that home. I pushed on the brake pedal. Hey, when it goes right to the floor, it blew the line right out of the crimp. Spilling hydraulic fluid everywhere. It's not going to do anything. They have crappy brakes to begin with, so I wasn't really expecting much. We'll see how this goes. So here's the mess I got going so far for the push-pull bar. We got some 2-inch plate here, torch cut it, put a hole in it, and then cut a slot out of this bar, or slide it in, burn it in on both ends. It looked exactly like that on both ends. This is actually an old Oliver mowboard plow backbone. It's kind of neat. There's our Steiger. Hook it this end up to our Steiger and the other end up to that tractor. So here's what we got set up. Welded those plates in, cut holes in them. Nice long bar between the two tractors. Got another one on the other end. Loaded up in the truck. Steiger's ready to go. Well, we got it coming home. My welds are holding. We're back feeding the hydraulic system with the remote off the R Steiger and keeping it straight steering wise going down the road. Trying to, at least. It's a little swirly going down the road. Coming up the next big hill and we'll be home. What we got going. Got our Steiger and the push-pull bar. We ended up running hydraulics from that tractor to this one and backfeeded the steering hydraulics so we could keep it straight going home. Got it home. Got the hood off of it. Draining recovering the AC system right now. Got the hood off. Radiator support's out. Radiator's unbolted. It can come out. and take the front half of this off, and that motor is about ready to pluck out of there. That's freaking out again. This is something interesting I figured out. So, in order to do the 3406 swap or 855 or whatever you want to do, so this engine bay is 50 inches end to radiator. I have 50 inches to work with for a motor. But you can also slide radiator and its supports up to the next set of holes, and it gains me another 8 inches. So heck, whatever motor I find, if it's over, it'll still fit. Just gotta move ahead. Door latch is broke right off. It don't work hardly at all. That seat is destroyed. Need a new seat altogether. Air cleaners whole way around. Need pre-cleaner. That's all rotted out, broke out, and bent over. That whole assembly probably. Won't have to worry about the rest of the intake. Probably gonna have a different motor anyways. Other than that though, it's not awful. It had antifreeze in it. Wasn't full of water or something like that. Hydraulic oil was a little more metallic-y than I would have liked to see, but I mean, what do I expect? It's been sitting for 11 years. All the tires look good though. No serious cracks, no splits. All of them are holding air. No issues there. I ran some power to it earlier. Lights do work. What else works? Wipers work. Turn signal did work for a little while. It'll probably quit again. I need a turn signal lever. It broke right out of the column. Whoever was operating it last. It's a messed up seat. Interior ain't awful. Could definitely use an interior kit though. Cosmetic wise, I ain't super worried about. Mechanically, that's got to be solved first. Here's what we got going on the project so far. Discovered a lot of stuff with this so far. Got the hood off of it. Tore all the stuff off the radiator, fan included. It's ready to come off. It literally just sitting there. Fluids drained. So this pan, we got it off too, and as you can see, all the metal shavings and crap that was laid in it. I was told it had a spun bearing, and unfortunately, found out that's not true. Pulled all the main caps, all the rod caps, every one of them. None of them were spun. A couple of them had some good score marks in them, but that's it. I'd expect that with that much shaving and mess in it. So then the question was, what else was wrong with it? Or what could be causing an issue with it? And I was just curious. I put a bar on it and wanted to turn it. Listen to this. Yeah, that is it. Locked solid in that direction. And I noticed, looking underneath, number 1 and number 6 in their compression stroke would lock. And that'd be it. So at this point, it was going to be either number 1 was acting up or number 6 had an issue. Pulled the valve cover off so we could just inspect the valve train, you know, make sure everything's alright, trying to figure out what else is wrong. And I found out what's wrong. Definitely not a spun bearing. But if any of you know what belongs right there, and how that should not be just free rocking, you might know what happened. And there's something that belongs in that hole. And unfortunately, that also means it chewed the head up, smashed the piston, ate the cylinder wall, just destroyed it. And that's also why it's locking up like it is every time you try to turn the motor over. So, that means this entire motor, or at least that cylinder or whatever it may be, needs a rebuild kit. And either I'm going to have the same investment in a rebuild kit as finding another motor, or just find another motor entirely. And I want to find another motor entirely for the opportunity of Jake brakes, an air compressor, horsepower, and just the experience in general. I mean, this is a project that I have never seen done before. It probably was done before, but I've never seen it, at least on the internet too. So in doing research for motors and measuring things, I have these rails I can slide the radiator up more with, and it gave me an extra 8 inches to work with. The 3406 Cat, unfortunately, is no longer an option. That plan's over. And I say that because it is long enough that from the back of the block all the way up here is too long, and I couldn't fit this radiator. Nor do I want to buy another radiator or lengthen the frame or something like that. So the other option was the 855. An 855 will fit between the back of the block and somewhere in here, and then just move the radiator up to its upper position, as this tractor in general was designed to run the Caterpillar or the 855 as a factory option. And I'm more familiar with the 855s and a 3406, so I'm more confident in putting that together than a 3406. So now the adventure begins in finding an adapter plate, the motor in general, governor, timing case, harmonic balancer, you name it. Oh boy, got a lot of work coming ahead. AC system still had pressure in it, held it up just like it should. I kind of expected that though. The AC system was brand new as of when it failed, and obviously dropped a valve and didn't spin a bearing like I was told. But I ended up pulling a couple pounds of AC out of it, and R134. Gonna be able to recharge it with that stuff now whenever I get it put back together. Definitely have to find also different flywheel, clutch, all that stuff, because the 855 is going to be completely different, I'm sure. Especially compared to the flywheel that's going to be in this thing. Oh, and yeah, I pulled apart the intake. That's going to be hard to see. The pre-cleaner fell right out of it. All rotted out. Pulled the filter out and it just done. So that intake tower is going to need replaced. I have to find one of those. At this point, I'd say the project's well underway, but got a long ways to go yet. When I say I've never seen this project done before, I don't mean 855 or 3406 or whatever, swapping a motor. I don't mean any of that. I've seen plenty of people engine swap a Steiger before. I'm talking leaving the Jake boxes and the compressor on. I've never seen a Steiger or a tractor in general with that equipment on it. Considering how trash the brakes are, I would love to run a set of Jakes on it. Not because they're loud, they'd be useful. And on top of that, the air compressor is going to be twice as useful, airing up tires and whatever else. I also have never seen this project done with, especially myself being an 18-year-old, somebody with this little experience, running into it blind. I got some help behind me though. I got some people that'll help me and find parts and stuff like that. That'd be really, really nice to see this thing run again. Might even take to school. Got one more year of school. I can say is I got a little souvenir. Definitely shouldn't be able to be holding this in my hand though, especially in a motor that's supposed to be complete. Too, at any point in the video series I'm going to attempt to do on this tractor, if anybody has any idea where I can get parts, or has a part that they're willing to sell, or anything of that sort, contact me in any way, shape, or form you can. The comment section for the video, whatever it may be, because I'm going to need all the help and parts I can get for this mess.